Hello everyone, welcome to Life Coach Lessons. Today I will be giving you tips on living successful and purposeful lives in only 3 to 5 minutes. I'm Scott Miller, a certified retirement life coach from Hixon Zuercher Capital Management. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to episode number 24 of Life Coach Lessons. We're in the month of November right now, and we're looking at the topic of social connections, or what we call relationships. This is really important, and that's why we're taking 2 months to answer your questions about this area of your life. And today we have a really interesting question, because it's a question that my wife and I are dealing with right now, a lot of our friends are dealing with right now, and it has to do with the idea of location. The question goes something like this: should I move closer to my kids and my grandkids? And so whenever you deal with the question of location, of where you're going to be and the timing of it, this is a really big question for people to answer. There's a lot of pros and cons that you have to kind of consider when you answer a question like this. And it's not just maybe your kids or your grandkids, it could be other family members too. Maybe you have brothers or sisters or nieces and nephews that you just want to move closer to, or maybe move back home or where you grew up. So here's a couple of points that I want you to consider when you think about answering this question. Number one, communication. You can go back to episode number 21. I talk about the idea of managing relationships with our children. That's we talk a little bit about this idea of communication, but it's really important to communicate with your family members of where you're moving to, of what this looks like. You have to maybe talk about some of the boundaries and some of the things that are going to occur when you move there. What's that look like? What's an overview of all of that? Remember that when you move into a new community like this, your family members don't want to spend 24/7 with you. They have their lives too. They have other things going on. So I think it's really important that we communicate about this move and changing location. Secondly, I just want you to think about change. Remember that there's going to be change that's going to be involved with this. You're moving from a community that maybe you knew how to get from point A to point B. You knew your way around town. You had your own set of friends and maybe organizations and clubs and places that you were involved in. And now you're going to go to a wholly different community, a wholly different place. And so just think about the pros and cons of the change itself. Thirdly, I want you to see the purpose in this. In other words, ask yourself the question, why? Why am I doing this? Why am I moving from my present community that I'm living in to another community in this? We talk about purpose all the time in Refocus Coaching. That's a big topic that we talk about, and thinking about it as a means to an end. And so I'm really big on the older generation pouring themselves into the younger generation. We talk a lot about that in Refocus Coaching. So really think about what's your purpose in all of this. And then fourthly, realize that they may move. We've had this actually happen to a few of our friends, where they've moved to a different community to be closer to their children. And then 2 years later, their children pick up and move to somewhere else. So what are you going to do if that happens? I think it's really important that you think about that. Younger people have a tendency to move jobs a lot quicker and a lot sooner and a lot more often than what we do in the older generations. So I think that's an important thing to consider. So hopefully this gives you a few points to consider as you kind of just think about answering this question about moving to another location to be closer to family. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. If you have any questions or comments or would like to connect with me, you can do that through email. That's smiller@hzcapital.com. I would love to hear from you. And just remember to live a more purposeful and meaningful life today.